Also, conversely, anytime you change the way you're picturing things, or you say to yourself, hey, I can make this happen, it physically changes the way your body starts to work. So these are constantly interacting with each other, both physiology and internal representations on what we call a cybernetic loop. That is, if you affect one, it's going to impact the other, and vice versa. Right now, if I asked you about something that happened to you yesterday or happened to you when you were a child, if you told me what happened, would you be telling me exactly what actually occurred? Of course not. Everything that's going on in your head, all of your memories are nothing but myths. Because the reality is, any moment in time when you think you're having an experience, you're not getting the exact experience of what's happening in the world. But what you're actually getting is a set of triggers that your brain is coordinating to make images and sounds. In other words, your five senses are like triggers. They're like the keyboard to the computer, and somebody's hitting those keys. But I can go up to a computer and hit the keyboard, and sometimes on the screen I get paragraphs, and sometime on the screen I might get, different types of shapes. It may not be in paragraphs at all. And what determines what's going to happen is the organizing principle in that computer, the floppy disk, if you will, the programming it has. So a lot of us have been programmed to look at the world a certain way. So when things happen, we see certain aspects, and for us, that's reality. And our programming can make a major difference as to whether we're happy or whether we're sad. So in other words, how we represent, that's what representation means. We represent in our brain what we think just happened will determine how we feel. If we take control of how we present things to ourselves, how we picture, what we picture, how we talk to ourselves, what we listen to, then obviously we can change the way we feel and the way we behave. One of the ways you can change the way you represent things is by using what we call a scramble technique. In other words, almost all of us have had times when we've had a situation that happens, like our boss yelling at us, or a situation where we get in an argument, and then what happens is, for the rest of the weekend, we keep replaying that tape over and over in our head. So it's really important to be able to change that. And one of the ways to change that is literally just to take that mental movie and run it backwards, to change some of the colors and the shapes and the way in which we perceive it. And if we do that enough, if we keep rewinding it and changing it, in essence what we do is we change the way we're going to see it in the future. And when we see it in a new way, we feel a new way as well. So let me give you an example of this. Let's take a look. What if your boss treated you like this?
I can't believe you are so incompetent. I have no idea why I even hired you. And if you don't change your ways, you'll be sorry.
So what do you do in a situation like this? How does it make you feel? Being verbally abused rarely motivates an employee to want to do better and be better. So if you leave, you've got two choices. One is, for the rest of the weekend, you keep running this mental movie and you get more and more angry at your boss. Or the other one is, you just go ahead and change it.
I can't believe you are so incompetent. I have no idea why I even hired you. And if you don't change your ways, you'll be sorry.
Now, let's have you do one like this yourself. Close your eyes and think of a situation that's really bothered you a lot, something that's challenged you, something that when you think about it, doesn't give you too good a feeling. And very quickly, what I want you to do is go to the end of that experience, as if it was a movie, to the last moment of that movie that you don't have such great feelings about. And then what I'd like you to do is just run it backwards as fast as you possibly can. Very, very, very rapidly. Watch everybody moving backwards. Watch them eating their words, literally. Watch the words going back in their throat, the movement's changing, the facial expression is changing. In fact, make it your favorite color now. Make it the color you want it to be. And make the person's face begin to change, so that if they're yelling, their voice becomes very squeaky like Mickey Mouse. And hear the song in the background going, M-I-C-K-E-Y. M-O-U-S-E. So with this scramble technique, all we're really doing is changing the way you're representing something in your head. By running it backwards very, very rapidly and forwards and changing some of the colors and shapes, all we're doing is rewiring the way you remember it. So in the future, when you try and represent that situation, it's represented in a way that makes you laugh or puts you in a humorous state, or at least a neutral state, instead of the old pictures and sounds that used to make you feel really lousy. Take a look here at this example here. As you can see, this is an old woman. Now, take a good look at this old woman and think about what state she might be in if you looked at her face. Now look at this picture here. As you can see, it's another old woman. Now take a look at her and decide, what state is she in? How is she feeling? Is she happy? Is she sad? Now, this second old woman is not an old woman at all. According to the artist who drew it, this is a picture of her beautiful daughter. Can you see the beautiful daughter there? None of you can? Take a good look. So as you can see, if you begin to make these little changes, if, for example, you see the old ugly woman and you begin to look at her and you notice that her chin is actually inner coat. That's what it looks like initially. If you notice what that chin is, it actually becomes like a necklace, okay, on the neck of the young woman. Just take a look and we'll do the details of it for you. Now, how many of you can see it? Great. Now, the point here is we could show this for 15 minutes if we had time on the videotape, and a lot of people just stare at it and go, no way, I don't see a young woman, it's only an old woman. Why? Because we conditioned you first by showing you one figure of an old woman. So then we showed you something very similar and said, as you can see, this is an old woman. In life, the same thing happens. In life, we get programmed all the time, where somebody, for example, treats us bad in a relationship, and so the next relationship, we try and fit that same view over them. We start looking for, we start filtering things, and we start going, aha, they're doing the same thing again. So it's really critical that we change some of those patterns to be able to have new choices in our life. So let's talk about some of the ways that we can change how we feel about anything. Probably the foundation of changing your pictures and changing how you feel about yourself is understanding the difference between association and disassociation. How many of you know what the difference is? I'm curious. Okay. If you don't know the difference, let me give you a kind of an experience of the difference. First of all, I should say to you that the difference between understanding whether you're associated or disassociated can be the difference between being totally happy in your life or being really sad. Think about this. Let me show you an example here. Some people in their life, when they think about happy memories, see them kind of like this. Let's take a look at a little piece of film here. And as you see this film, now you get to watch people in motion in a movie, and it's in color, and you get to watch people going up and down the roller coaster. That's called disassociation. You're seeing someone else, or you could be seeing yourself from a distance. Now let's watch this movie. And as you can see, as you're watching this movie, your body begins to respond because you're fully associated. You're in the front seat. You can feel yourself going over the edge. You can feel yourself coming back up. You can feel the emotion firing off inside. If you want to be happy in your life, you've got to know when to disassociate and when to associate. Neither one is perfect for every situation. Some people in life totally associate to all the painful experiences of their life. You go, what was your childhood like? And they go, oh, God, I'll tell you, because all their feelings are right there. Because when they think of those memories, they're like in the experience feeling it, okay? And then you say, well, tell me about some of the happy moments of your life. And they go, let's see. And they go, oh, yeah, I remember a time. And they picture times, but they're not there. They're not feeling it. They're not in the front seat of their life. So there are ways in which you can try this. There are ways in which you can associate yourself. And there are ways in which to disassociate. And the simplest way to associate to something is imagine in your mind stepping into the experience, stepping into the picture. Let's try something here. What I'd like you to do is close your eyes. And I'd like you to think of a happy moment in your life. Any happy moment at all. It's a time when you felt especially like you had a lot of fun. Maybe you were being especially devious as a child and having fun doing it. Maybe you're just joyous. Any state you really like, but think of a time when it really felt good. But what I want you to do is this. I want you, as you remember that time, to step out of the experience. Now, if you're not good at visualizing, remember how you felt then, and just kind of push the feeling away so you don't feel it. If you're good at visualizing, step out of the picture so you see yourself over there. And as we do this, notice how you feel as the feelings and the pictures and the sounds are over there. Does it feel as good as it did way back then? I highly doubt it. And notice how that feels. Notice how it feels when the picture's over there, when you're disassociated. Now try this. Step into the experience. Step back in the picture. Feel like your body is feeling it now. Breathe the way you were breathing then when you had this experience. Put the expression on your face like you had then when you had the experience. And notice how good it feels. Hear what you heard then, hearing it in your own head like you're saying it now. And as you're doing this, you're beginning to associate. And raise your hand if this feels measurably better than the first example. Great. And then just simply open your eyes. Now, people who are very happy in their life tend to find all the happy moments they can remember and fully associate. They step into those pictures. They're there. They take the painful moments of their life, if there's nothing they can do about them and they're no longer a part of their life, and they simply disassociate. They make those pictures and they push them away. Or they take those feelings and in their mind, they push them away from themselves. They're not a part of their physical body. You have the ability to do this with just about anything. Hey, can you remember movies that you used to watch when you were a little kid that just seeing them just to like really scare you completely? And then didn't you eventually develop the ability, out of wanting to not be fearful, many of you, where you could watch that same movie and kind of laugh or giggle because you just realized you'd said, well, it's just a movie. By saying it was just a movie, what were you doing? Simply using your language to disassociate. Now, let me tell you where this is probably the most powerful and important place to learn association and disassociation. Most powerful place to learn it's in relationships. See, falling in love is the simplest thing on the planet to do. To fall in love, all you got to do is fully associate to everything you could possibly like about one human being. That's all it takes. See? And then what do you got to do with dissociation? You have to disassociate from everything that would upset you. That's how people fall in love. You don't like make a list and go, I like this, I don't like this, I like this, I don't like this. That's not how people fall in love. They just make a list of all the things they love and they feel how they feel about it. They get associated to it. Now, if you want to fall out of love, that's really easy to do also. All you have to do is associate to all the things that would upset you and disassociate from all the times you spent together where you were really close. And that's how people fall out of love. So, you know, the tendency to fall out of love is you look at the toothpaste cap and you see that, hey, she left this thing off. There's this other thing in the way. They always do this. And you begin to make generalizations and pay attention to things that upset you and feel about those things. And you dissociate from the memories. If you want to turn it around, it's real simple. Go back to the first time you saw each other. Think about how you looked at that person when you were really attracted to that person. Step back into that memory so you feel the way you felt then. Breathe the way you were breathing then. Put the smile you had on your face then. And think about this person you're with. And I guarantee you what will happen is the relationship will expand and grow, and the attraction will happen even more. Okay? Now, with association and disassociation, if we come back to our original model here, it's very simple. All we're doing is changing how you're representing something. So when you're associated, it simply means that you're making pictures in your mind, you're talking to yourself, and your physiology feels like you're actually there. You're in the picture, experiencing it as if it was happening right now. And as a result, that intensifies the state you have about it. So if you're imagining something you're really happy about and you're fully associated, you got a real strong, happy state. If you're imagining something you don't feel so good about and you're fully associated, you got a real negative state, and your behavior is going to be impacted by that. Disassociation is just making internal representations where you're outside of the picture, where things are happening away from you, where you can see it happening. And in those situations, the state is not as intense, and your behaviors are going to be impacted by that as well. How many of you here would like to motivate yourself instantly? You don't have to raise your hands. I know the answer. Everyone would. Now, one of the things you can find out is, in order to be motivated to do something, we have to make pictures or represent or say things to ourselves in a certain way. We represent things differently than when we're unmotivated. So what I'd like to show you is that, let's say, for example, when you're motivated, you may make pictures that are movies. And when you're unmotivated, maybe they're a still frame. I'm going to show you how to make a distinction so you can take things you're not motivated to do and get yourself motivated in a few moments just by changing how you represent things, thereby changing state, and thereby changing behavior. So I need a volunteer. Would you volunteer for me? Come on up here. Give her a hand. How are you?
Hi.
Have a seat. All right, Wendy, what I want to do is I want you to, first of all, think of something that's happened in your life or something when you think about it, it gets you really totally motivated. Is there anything like that in your life that if I said, hey, you want to go do this or do you want to take part in this, you get really motivated? Oh, there it is, right there. Okay, great. And what I'd like you to do is just close your eyes for a moment. And what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to make a picture in your mind of this thing that really motivates you. Great, it's obvious you could really enjoy it, huh? Good. And notice I'm touching her shoulder. In the next section, I'm going to show you what I'm doing with her right now. It's called anchoring. Now, can you get a clear picture of what that's like, that thing that really motivates you? Good, good. Now, as you remember, tell me, is it a movie or is it a still frame?